The Philippines will attract 50 million tourists by the year 2050, according to David Liu Chu, who's a property consultant. Let's talk about it. Let's see why he thinks it's going to happen. And I'll give you some reasons why it will not happen. And at the end, we'll see how this benefits him by making this claim. Here's what he had to say. 50 million tourists a year for the Philippines. David Liu Chu says it's possible. The Philippines only attracted 5.95 million foreign visitors in 2024, but 50 million by 2050 isn't such a far-fetched idea. Liu Chu breaks down how to reach the goal. Total tourist arrivals in the Philippines didn't even reach 6 million in 2024, but if you ask David Liu Chu, hitting 50 million by 2050 isn't such a far-fetched idea. Liu Chu, who is the CEO and co-founder of Liu Chu Property Consultants, said that the ambitious target of 50 million can be attained through a focus on key tourism destinations, implementing the correct development schemes and government policies, then cascading these to the rest of identified potential locations. Quote, from 2026 to 2038, we build the runway, Liu Chu said, explaining phase one of his proposed 50-50 strategy. The runway in this context refers to establishing world-class benchmarks, catalyzing anchor destinations, and improving infrastructure, which doesn't just include roads and bridges, but also airports and seaports, as well as improvements in reliable utilities like power, water, waste management, and digital access. All right, I mean, to be fair, if you can do all of that, I don't see why a country will not reach that amount. But, tourism is not something you can just do, Yeah, there's a lot to it. Of course, anyone that travels would know. And if you have all those things in place, perhaps at that point you'll see a rise. Actually, definitely you'll see a rise in tourism. But 50 million, that's a big reach. That's like 10 million more than Thailand got at the highest peak. And Thailand's got all those things in place for the most part, right? That's just one place. Or of course, you don't want to compare countries, so you have to really think about it. So let's take a look at some reasons why that's not going to happen. Number one, infrastructure capacity limits. Current airports, seaports, roads, and public transport systems are already strained at far lower tourist numbers. Expanding them to handle nearly 10 times the current volume would require massive investment, coordination, and decades of work. The second thing is geographical challenges. The Philippines is an archipelago with over 7,000 islands. Transporting large numbers of tourists between destinations efficiently and affordably is far more complex than a single landmass country. 3. Seasonal weather risks. Typhoons, monsoons, rains, and unpredictable weather patterns can significantly disrupt tourism flows, especially during peak travel season. An excellent point there. Unfortunately, the Philippines doesn't have that 12-month tourist cycle, basically, right? Half the year you're hit with Philippines gets the most typhoons than any other country in the world, right? So even if Philippines had the money, the infrastructure, the people, the weather most likely will not permit this to happen. Number 4, safety and security perception. Concerns about crime, terrorism, and certain regions and inconsistent law enforcement can deter potential visitors even if the actual risks are low. Number 5, environmental strain. Many popular destinations like Boracay, El Nido, Siargao are already struggling with over-tourism impact on waste, water, reefs, and local ecosystems. Scaling to 50 million visitors risks severe environmental damage unless sustainable practices are enforced. The Philippines unfortunately has a big problem when it comes to pollution already and littering and the whole waste management system. Can you imagine if you add 10 times more tourists to the entire equation? Number 6, global competition. The Philippines competes with nearby tourism giants like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia, many of which have more established infrastructure and global branding. Number 7 is limited marketing reach. Philippines tourism promotion budget and campaign remains small compared to other Southeast Asian destinations, making it harder to build awareness internationally. The 8th reason is political and policy instability. Shifts in government priorities, corruption, or changes in tourism regulations can slow or derail long-term strategies. Number 9, limited airline capacity. The number of direct international flights to the Philippines is still far below that of regional competitors, and aviation expansion takes time and cooperation from foreign carriers, not just Philippines Airlines and Cebu Pacific, for example. Number 10, workforce readiness. Scaling to hospitality industry to serve 50 million tourists would require millions of trained staff, from hotel workers to guides, and that pipeline doesn't yet exist. So there are 10 reasons why Mr. Chu or Li Chu's predictions most likely will not come true. Then again, nothing's impossible. Don't get me wrong. By some miracle, if the Philippines as a whole, my face has become a shadow here in the sunlight. Let me move over a little bit over here to give you guys a better. You don't want to see that shadowy ass figure lurking in the dark. So if the Philippines as a nation decides, you know what, we're going to make tourism our next thing, our next big thing, potentially, of course, you can do a lot better numbers wise than we're doing now. But to go from 5 million, or just let's say 6 million, to 50 million in 22 years or 25 years, I should say, is not very likely given all the 10 reasons I mentioned. So why is Mr. Li Chu coming out and saying all this? I'll give you some reasons why this may be beneficial to him. Number one, that it boosts investor confidence. Big tourism projections make hotel chains, resort developers, and retail investors more willing to buy land or properties, which could lead to more deals for his company. Two, generates media attention. Bold predictions get quoted, shared, and discussed, giving him and his firm free publicity and positioning him as a visionary in the business and tourism sector. The fourth reason, influences government policy by publicly promoting a massive target. He can push policymakers towards infrastructure projects and benefit real estate development, airports, roads, commercial zones, and such. Four is open doors for partnerships. Developers, tourism operators, and foreign investors might approach him for consulting if they think the market will expand dramatically. The fifth thing is creates optimism in the market. And the sixth thing is position himself as a thought leader. I can go into more details about each one of those things, but I will not bore you. So of course, this gentleman has his own interest. You know, he's a consultant when it comes to properties, and this kind of like attention, even from this video, well, maybe not. I mean, my point is like, if I'm talking about it, other people are talking about it, right? People with much bigger platform, much bigger reach, and much bigger influence, right? By making these kind of outlandish, let's be honest, statements, he can get a lot more attention either on himself, on his properties, or just the fact that it's an idea out in the air that he's basically thought of. Let's say in a year or two, Philippines doubles its tourism numbers. He's gonna be, hey, I told you guys, see, you got to invest now to make some money later, you know? So those were some reasons. The comment sections were also not very friendly to this guy's predictions. People just laughed it off saying we can't even do this and that. So it's not just me. And here are what some people have to say regarding these claims. Someone says, I personally think it's okay that fewer tourists visit the Philippines compared to other countries. We need to develop our tourism infrastructure more. Fewer tourists also means that we are not burnt out, annoyed with many foreigners, and that results in genuine hospitality given to visitors. Absolutely. You know, when I first went to, let's say, like for example, Thailand 12 years ago, there was a very big difference between the way people treated me and just the locals compared to now. I think them and a lot of countries are facing over tourism, and it could take away from the authenticity, the genuine friendliness, and the kindness of the locals, because they might be just fatigued of seeing so many tourists, number one, also misbehaving tourists. Of course, when you have a large number of people, the chance of more individuals being bad apples, for example, increases naturally, just mathing, right? So simple as that. So I understand that perspective. Not everybody maybe is for a lot of tourists. Someone else says probably wants quality tourists over quantity, so the beaches doesn't become like some other Southeast Asian countries. I'm sure no one wants a repeat of 2018 Boracay closure or be stuck in Manila traffic even longer than its current states. Fantastic points made there, right? Because we saw the Philippines was rising really high when it came to tourism pre-pandemic, and you know, Boracay had to be shut down because just they couldn't handle all those people. So there are bigger things in play, I think, before we can, or the country, the Philippines, could start looking at tourists specifically. I think a lot bigger things need to be in place first before you can see such large numbers of people coming and actually it being sustainable. And someone said, depends on the visitors. You don't want a load of drunken tourists ruining such amazing country. Just look at what Bali and Thailand have turned into. Bali is one of the places where I've never been so disappointed in my life. Okay, some parts are still beautiful, of course, if you get out of the center of the place, but I saw probably 8 foreigners compared to 2 locals. There were so many people, can't even get around. It just became a headache, right? And Thailand, Phuket, right now, it's just like overrun by tourists. You don't even feel like you're in like a foreign country, for example, if you're coming from the West. So I understand that part of it as well. But leave your comments down below. I'd love to know, what do you think are his predictions? Do you think it's even remotely possible? Do you think half those can't even be reached? Do you think it's going to reach 100 million tourists? Who knows? Anything you want to talk about. And I'd love to know which one of the reasons that I talked about do you think is the biggest hurdle for the Philippines to overcome in order to start to compete with its neighbors when it comes to tourism. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.